Blog Talk Radio.
Down to sleep, lay me down. I pray my soul is mine to keep. My soul can never step outside this bed, never into all the evil. Now back from the dead.
Are you scared?
He's here.
The calling hours.
When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk here.
They will say that I have shed innocent blood. What's blood for, if not for shedding?
Episode 51 of the Calling Hours Horror Podcast on Horror Society Radio. This is your host, the Head Undertaker, the Dead Man Michael Jones of HorrorSociety.com and Living Dead Magazine. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? We're going to have another great show this evening. Tonight, around 8:40 p.m., we're going to have director Derek Young on. And this will be his second time on the show, and he'll be talking about his works, of course, Family Property, Backwoods Killing Spree. We'll bring up Midnight Matinee Psycho again. Of course, his most recent film, Psychotic State. And the upcoming sequel, Family Property 2, More Blood. He's also going to be involved with the Martinsville Winter Horror Fest. So we're going to ask him a little bit about that and see what else he's got coming down the pike. He's been a pretty busy guy, and as far as the independent scene goes, he's a guy that knows what's going on. So we're definitely going to have some fun talking with Derek again. Tonight we're going to be featuring plenty of Metal Blade music. We're going to have a lot of podcast exclusives this evening, including Powerwolf, Ram, and Portrait. And there's a special band. I'm sure many of you that are fans of him know that he has a new CD, but we'll get to that in a minute. In our digital dismemberment spotlights, we're going to be reviewing Scream Factory's Blu-ray release of Leviathan, as well as Lionsgate DVD release of Zombies of Mass Destruction, which has quickly started to become one of my favorite zombie films. And of course, we have, as I mentioned before, plenty of Metal Blade music. So before we get to our first digital dismemberment, we're going into world podcast premiere music from the brand new King Diamond. The name of the CD is Dream of Horror. The song is Black Devil.
By the altar,
We come from Cannibal Corpse off of their most recent CD, Skeletal Domain. And before that, we opened it up with podcast exclusive music, the brand new King Diamond, the CD, Dreams of Horror, the song, Black Devil. Make sure to keep listening in throughout the night as we have a lot more podcast exclusive music from Metal Blade Records coming up. In about 23 minutes, we will be interviewing director Derek Young, and again, we'll be covering, a lot of his work. We had him on before for Psychotic State, but he does have an upcoming new project, Family Property 2, More Blood, and we're going to ask him about the Martinsville Winter Horror Fest. So, like I said, about 22 minutes or so. But before that, it's time for some digital dismemberment.
Digital dismemberment.
And in our first digital dismemberment spotlight for the evening, we are going to be covering Lionsgate's release of the Films to Die For series, Zombies of Mass Destruction. And I remember the first time I heard about this film, I was really excited about it. I thought it brought a new and fresh approach to the zombie genre, and kind of how we look at what would happen in a situation were to occur. And basically, the film tells the story of, there's a small town called Port Campbell, and there's a blind man who's walking on the beach, and he finds a zombie in the sand who wakes up, and you assume from the sounds that he's attacked, and that takes place. The main events of the film take place on September 25th of 2003. So keep in mind, this is not long after 9/11. There's an Iranian-American girl, Frida, who works for her father at his restaurant. And she's just returning to town after having dropped out of Princeton University. Then she meets up with some people in town, and you can kind of tell that they're kind of playing the stereotypical fear of Iranians, people from the Middle East, and there's a few verbal, puns thrown out there, and if you're paying attention, you kind of see where that's going. And there's a young gay couple. A young man comes back to his hometown, and he's going to tell his mother that he's gay. The characters of Tom and Lance. And while you're looking around, you kind of get that Shaun of the Dead element about the film, because you see points where the police officer is turned into a zombie, and he's kind of walking around the street, and characters catch things out of their periphery, and they're starting to notice weird things going on. Well, the young man that Frida is seeing is fired by her dad at work, Derek. So she goes out on a date with him later, and they've been smoking pot. They're in his car. The zombie comes in, and his face is ripped off. It's kind of a comical scene, but at the same time, it's pretty gruesome. And Frida manages to escape to a neighbor's house, and the boy's father, Joe, seems to think that a terrorist outbreak is responsible, and he sees that Frida wears a necklace similar to one of the terrorists in the video, so he ties her up. He starts asking her questions, and there's a lot of comedy that goes on there. The young gay couple go to have dinner with the young man's mother, and she winds up becoming a zombie, and they escape to a local church. And the local church is just a cast of kind of crazy. You have the Reverend and the Mayor in there. There's a married couple, and some other people, and as it goes on, they find out that the young couple is gay, and they try this whole thing to try and ungay him while the zombie thing is going on outside. Frida manages to escape and finds her father, and he had gotten bit. He had been out looking for her and is mowing zombies down in the town square, and I mean he's pretty impressive. He's a zombie killing machine. But she she winds up having to kill him, and she gets ready to kill herself, but she hears helicopters. And she goes out and escapes. Joe finds her again and tries to contain her. And she handcuffs him to the side of the house. And the zombies wind up eating him. Frida finds Tom and Lance, of course, and Mrs. Banks, who was running for mayor and was a school teacher. They find a helicopter and they go to a refuge. And then the film flashes forward 6 months later, and the town is out of quarantine. Mrs. Banks is now the town mayor, and Frida's running her dad's diner. Tom and Lance come to visit, and they ask her to come stay with them in New York, but she promises to visit them. And that's pretty much how the film ends, on an upbeat. But it's real interesting, the scenes between Joe and Frida, and just based on the girl's look, he assumed that she was a terrorist, and then you have the comedy of the small town home religious base, persecuting the young gay couple, even at the expense of the zombie apocalypse going on outside. So there's a lot of black humor that's injected to the film as well. I thought a lot of the makeup effects were really well done. There's plenty of blood and gore for those that want that. So the film does not lack in that, while it does add in the dramatic and the comedic department. It was part of the 8 Films to Die For series. So you have the trailers. You have a bunch of trailers for it. But there's really not much in the way of special features. This is a pretty bare-bones disc. It's just the regular version DVD. So you might want to check this out as soon as you can. I don't know. You should be able to pick it up on eBay every once in a while. If you look on the shelves, you can probably find it in the multi-packs at Walmart. So make sure and go and check this out. As far as the movie goes, as a rating, I would give the movie a solid 7.5, 8 out of 10. It blends some humor, and I think it's an interesting slice to look at. As big as zombies are in popular culture, even zombies have found a way, in a comedic way, to tie terrorism into it in 9/11. So it was surprising that they got away with as much as they did, considering the climate at that time. But I would certainly recommend that you go ahead and check this one out. It's high entertainment. I think your friends would enjoy it. It's not so much in the special features department, but just actually own the film. And you might be able to still get it at Lionsgate, so check with Lionsgate. So, coming up in about, I'd say about 12 minutes, we're going to have director Derek Young on. But before that, we're going to go into some more Metal Blade, and we're going to start with another podcast exclusive. The name of the band is Powerwolf. The name of the CD is The History of Heresy 2, 2009 through 2012. The song is Murder at Midnight.
In the night, the constable is on the way, the suspect out of sight. He trampled down the garden lane, the mystery has begun. He signed it by the pentagram, and now is on the run.
I gotta tell you a story, and the story we saw right at the scene of the crime.
Murder
And welcome back. You just heard podcast exclusive music from the split disc between Ram and Portrait. That was Portrait off of Under Command. The name of the song was Bless to be Cursed. Before that, we had some goat horror. Constricting Rage of the Merciless was the name of the CD. The song was Externalize This Hidden Savagery. And we opened it up again with exclusive podcast music. Powerwolf, The History of Heresy 2 from 2009 to 2012. Murder at Midnight. Make sure to keep listening. We're going to have some exclusive music again from the 3 featured bands this evening. But it is that time. I know he's been on hold. It's time to bring on Derek Young. Derek, are you there?
Yeah, man. What's going on, dude?
What's going on, man? Sorry, when you called in at first, I wasn't sure if you were just listening or you were waiting for me to bring you on. So, I have to be good to the people of Metal Blade and stuff.
I enjoy the music. I enjoy the music.
Well, I know you do. So, man, I mean, I know it's been busy for you. There's so many ways we can go. We're definitely going to touch on your films and everything again, but I guess the big thing first, if we want to get out of the way, is tell everyone about Martinsville Winter Horror Fest.
Well, I got to tell you, man, I know that there's not ever been a show here in this area, and being as, it's close proximity to people in North Carolina and, of course, everybody in Virginia, I wanted to bring what I've learned going to these conventions and talking with promoters and looking at what makes a con run and the different shows and what will make a good festival. And like this year, I went ahead and started off with the majority of the guests that I had a 50-50 split between being horror and not horror to start, and I got a few announcements that are going to be coming up as far as other guests. But right now, as it stands, we have a couple of locals. We have local effects artist and indie filmmaker Philip Hurt, and then we have an indie actress and filmmaker who a lot of people have seen the movie that she's working on, Lucifer's Dungeon a Go-Go. Her name's Jess Stone. She's going to be there. And we're going to have Jeremy Ambler, of course, the featured walker from The Walking Dead. And we also are going to have, from WWE back in the day, in the 90s, Mantar is going to be showing up.
No
and then
way.
We're going to have
awesome.
Mantar on hand. And then we also have WWE Hall of Famer and wrestling legend Jimmy the Boogie Woogie Man Valiant.
Get out.
Yeah, Boogie Woogie Man's going to be here, and he's bringing along with him wrestling manager Colonel Dave and his wife, who even at her age today is still wrestling. Her name is the Black Widow. So they're all going to be coming out. And then we also have adult film star Nadia White, a.k.a. Ariel Adore, which she was Ariel Adore when she was working with Jenna Jameson. So a lot of good things. And, I know myself, and a lot of people may not jump up and down and yell, yes, I'm an adult film fan, but I know there's a lot of them, and a lot of them reside in the horror genre.
That's very true. I mean, a good example of that would be Ron Jeremy. People, it's funny. I had mentioned to some people I worked with before. Who if I get anyone I wanted to interview right now, who do you think would just be a fun interview? And I immediately said Ron Jeremy, and they both looked at me like, you're stupid. Why would you want to interview a porn star? And I told them, I said, you guys don't understand. A lot of these people that do pornography go into the horror genre. And if you look at Ron Jeremy's IMDb, the guy has done a ton of horror films.
Oh, yes, he has. And Actually, to be honest, what's really cool is the people that I listed that are not part of horror will be after the show's over with, because that weekend they're also going to be filming scenes for my new film, Family Property 2 More Blood, and we're also going to be doing a little bit of filming for Toxic Tutu as well.
And we're going to talk about both of those projects coming up here in a little bit. Like I said, we're definitely I'm going to let everyone know what you're into, because like I was telling people earlier, man, you know, you're everything that an independent filmmaker should be. You have ambition, you have an eye for talent, you know, and you have a passion for what you're doing. And that's going to lead into this. Now, of course, you've done so much with Psychotic State, Midnight Matinee, Psycho, and, of course, you know, the film you're working on now, in addition to the other stuff that you've been working on with Toxic Tutu and all that. But I wanted to ask you, you know, of course, I met you before, I mean, right when you first started filming, so I go all the way back to the beginning with you. But through the last 5 years, you know, your films have gotten better. You know, you're working with more talent. Your name is getting out there more. I see you out there. You know, what I mean, I understand what you're doing with Martinsville Winter Horror Fest, but why this early have you decided to jump into the convention circuit? What is it? Kind of explain to people what it is that, for like a film like yours, what these conventions and what these film festivals do for an independent film director.
Well, I mean, they do a lot for indie filmmakers, but my big thing is, like, I really want to give an opportunity to indie filmmakers. I want to give an opportunity to the fans of this area that have never gotten to enjoy a convention. You know, so some of the people here may have money for a convention, but they don't have enough money for traveling to a convention.
Right.
Because all of that extra travel cost kills you. And, you know, that's the reason why I was able, you know, I'm keeping a cheap price on the tickets. I've got just, you know, for $5 you can come in both days. So, you know, your whole weekend's $5 and you're at the show.
And you'll have vendors and everything like that, I'm assuming, as well, right?
Yeah, we're going to have vendors. We're going to have vendors. And on Friday night, we're going to head to Sport Lanes, which is right down the street from the venue. It's only like a 30-second drive from the venue, but it's a couple-minute walk. And in their bar, they're going to have karaoke and a DJ hit up on Friday. And then on Saturday, I have a band, an actual classic rock cover band, Down to the Wire, is going to be playing Saturday night. And we're going to head back down to Sport Lane Saturday night for that. So the whole weekend is going to consist of filming scenes for movies, hanging out with celebrities, picking up some cool merch, getting drunk, and enjoying some good music. So, I mean, you know, it's a hell of a way to celebrate Christmas.
No, and I dig it. And, you know, what I like about it is, you know, you're doing it in your area. You know, you're doing something with what you're doing. I know that sounded like a funny statement. I don't even know why I said it that way. I guess what I mean is that you're taking your knowledge and your experience and you're trying to make something that's fun, like a convention, possible in your area. You know, I have the same dreams here in Raleigh. I would love to see something here, and it's, you know, I'm glad to see that it's working for you and that you're able to incorporate your local neighborhood into doing it with you.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
and, you know, it's, for me, it's going to be, for me, what it's really about is, one, opening the eyes up to the people of the area.
Right.
Because up until now, like, it's really hard for them to even believe a movie's being made here.
Right.
You know, they haven't seen really any celebrities around. They haven't seen this. They haven't seen that. So what I want to do is open the eyes up to all these people that live here that believe they couldn't make a movie, or that they couldn't essentially be an actress or an actor. I'm trying to open up to them that even in this area, it's possible, you know.
Certainly.
And, you know, for me, that's my biggest thing behind this. You know, I'm not doing this for money. I'm doing this to, one, help the horror fans of the area, that can't afford these real expensive conventions, you know. And then 2, make sure that I open eyes up for future filmmakers, actors, and actresses that live here that just don't believe it could happen from living here, you know. So
right.
It's, you know, that's my driving force for all of this.
I dig it, man. You know, and now tell everyone exactly where is it going to be held again, what the dates are, you know, special events, things like that. Go ahead and, I mean, really lay it out for people.
Well, December 19th and 20th. On the 19th, we're going to pop open at 5 o'clock. We're going to drop out of the venue at 9 and head over to Sport Lanes. And then on Saturday, we're going to open up at noon, and we're going to go till 9 o'clock, and then we're going to hit Sport Lanes again. So, you know, it's going to be a real big deal. And the cool thing is the venue that we have is right in the middle of a bunch of fast food restaurants, some good, you know, some real good, just regular restaurants as well, other than just fast food. And then,
right.
You know, of course, we're just sitting right in the middle. Like, where it's at, from a 3-minute drive, you can hit either Walmart one way or some other shopping centers the other way. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff around the area that's just right there. So if you don't want to stick around the whole time, you'll be able to get out and get somewhere without getting lost because everything's on the same strip. You know?
Nice. Well, that's a good layout.
Yeah, so we're going to be at the Econo Lodge, which is right on that main strip in Martinsville, Virginia. And we're going to be in the banquet room that's there. And actually, that is the main host hotel. If you get a single bed in your room, it's $55 a night. If you have a double bed, it's $60. And the guy's actually charging a little more for the double bed because he realized when I did my filming that if somebody gets a double bed, we're going to end up having 4 people in one room instead of, you know, because he realized quick that we were going to be doubling up on rooms with people that were coming. You know, like people were just going to be like, hey, look, can I stay with you? Yeah, sure. Okay, cool. I don't know who the hell you are, but I'm sleeping in the bed beside you tonight, you know. So he said it's going to be a little bit more for those just because he understands that. So everybody out there that's listening and might want to come, just know if you're splitting a room with somebody, it's going to be $5 more. Just because he understood all of that ahead of time.
That's slick, though, man.
But if you're paying it $5, you might as well bring like 4 or 5 people. I could split that cost like crazy. You know?
That's true. That's true.
Because if you bring 5 people, it's $1 extra.
You know, at the actual event itself, you know, do you have makeup booths planned? Do you have, you know, you're going to have, you know,
well, that's
actors
the thing. I'm actually working on. I'm still working on getting vendors in. We still have vendor spots open, and I'm actually hoping that we have somebody locally that wants to do a makeup booth because I know a lot of people would love that. And I need to touch. I forgot one thing. I do have one indie actor that I feel bad for missing, but Steven Slasher Sturgis is coming, and he's a Jason impersonator. So
okay,
he actually travels around, and that is like some people that do the thing. They, you know, when they do the costumes, they do multiple costumes. This guy, the only thing he does is Jason Voorhees.
Nice.
So you know, he's stuck in that. He's never going to do a different costume. So. You know, he's a real cool cat. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. You know, for this first show, I didn't want to go too overboard with events. I wanted to keep, especially since, you know, I sat back and was like, you know, hey, look, if some of these celebrities want to work on a movie at the same time, why not house a shoot around everything so that we can get some film shooting done and allow the people that are coming to be a part of a horror film, you know? So everybody that comes through the door has the opportunity to be a part of the film, you know. So that's a real cool thing and a nice convention experience that you can bring home with you. When you do these things, you know, you always go, there's those memories that you catch with photos, you catch with this and that, but after this show, everybody that comes will have the opportunity to say, hey, look, I was there and the film was being made, and look at what this film is doing now. You know, I was in this, or I wished I would have chosen to be in this, you know, because now look where it's at, you know. So, yeah,
and I wanted to ask you,
I didn't want to do too much.
And that's what I wanted to ask you about
so,
next was, you know, you talked about stuff being filmed while you're there. And one of the things that's going to be filmed while you're there, of course, is Toxic Tutu. And I had Mark Torgel on a couple months ago, and he was really such a fantastic guy and great to talk to, and spoke very highly of the project. And during that show, he spoke very highly of you as well. I was wondering, tell us about how you got involved with Mark and how Toxic Tutu became involved in all this.
Well, see, here's the funny thing. We actually, I went to Mad Monster Party in Charlotte, and that was when they were first starting to film this stuff for Toxic Tutu, and I put my name down with my email address, and I did a little shot with them. And then later on, Joe Nardelli, who's making the film, reached out to me, and he was going to be doing some filming in Danville, and they had some things happen, and the shoot got messed up. And I told him, I said, dude, look, let me handle it. I'll make it happen, all right? Just come to Martinsville instead, and I will make it happen. And sure enough, he came to Martinsville. Johnny Fairplay came down, and we made the scene happen, all right? Banged out some awesome footage, got some great stuff as far as production value and everything else goes. And then we went into, you know, we all split apart, and then I found a way to work in where we did, you know, I found a way to, one of the scenes that he really wanted, I found a way to make that happen and actually have Jake the Snake Roberts in the scene.
Nice.
And so I made all of that happen, and now that I'm doing this, I called Joe up and I said, look, man, if there's any scenes that you haven't got yet, if you want me to film them, if you want to come down and film them, regardless of how it happens, I will make sure they get done, all right? So, of course, he said that was great, and, we just went from there and trying to figure out what needed to be done here that we could knock out that he really, really needs to tie this, to help tie the story together even better than it already is. So, with all of the help that I've gave him and all the footwork and everything I've been doing, that led to me ultimately being named an associate producer on the project, which is awesome. Especially being a huge Toxic Avenger fan myself, to know that my name is on this other than just being some face in it, and, and I've done so much work with it. And, it's a real prideful moment for me to know that, especially when Toxic Tutu has been mentioned on E, thanks to the E True Hollywood Story of Johnny Fairplay. So, it's being blasted out there like crazy right now, and I can't wait to see where that goes.
I mean, I'm right there with you. It's a shame. I'm here in Raleigh, North Carolina. I don't get to head out to a lot of events, and Charlotte's just 3 hours away. Maybe one of these days I will make it down there. I would be able to make it to yours, but around the holiday time, that's a little bit harder for me to travel. So,
well, that's hard on everybody. But that's why I'm telling you, man. Find 4 people that want to roll with you, split the gas cost, and when you come, the people that are with you will all have media passes. I'll hook your ass up, man.
Well, let me talk to some people then and see what I can put together. We might be able to put something together.
I'll hook them up with media passes for helping you get out here, so because I would love for you to be here to be able to cover the event and let everybody know how things go. And, I'd love to be able to hang out with you and help you be a part of Toxic Tutu as well,
I mean, I would love to. Like I said, when I talked to Mark, I told him to let me know next time they were coming through North Carolina. So, we'll see what happens with that. But,
Well, I know we're doing a real cool scene I want to mention, because we need 15 to 20 people for it who will wear tutus and be protesters.
I would do that.
And protest on the streets of Martinsville.
I would do that.
It's going to be fun. But, so it's all going to be great stuff. So I can't wait.
Now, the other thing you're going to be filming there, too, is you're going to be filming stuff for Family Property, too, correct?
Oh, yeah. More blood.
All right. Now,
oh, man.
For people that don't know, the first film was Family Property Backwoods Killing Spree, and that was in 2009. So for those that may not have heard you the first time you're on, kind of give them the background about how that film came about, and then tell us what you can about the sequel.
Well, as far as Family Property, of course, it was heralded the worst film ever made, and since the last time I talked to you, it's actually been deemed a cult classic.
Love it.
And so has Midnight Matinee Psycho. As a matter of fact, the same company picked up Midnight Matinee Psycho and put it out this past July.
Who put it out?
Worldwide Multimedia. And,
no kidding. I'll have to see if they sent me that because I get DVD screeners from them. So I will look. I have a giant stack actually sitting in front of me. But
well, I got to tell you something funny about that, man. They took that movie and they put it up, and Midnight Matinee Psycho actually sold out. FYE sold out of their stock in pre-sales, so they put it on every shelf across the nation.
That's sweet.
Oh, yeah. So I'm real excited about that. And but as far as Family Property Backwoods Killing Spree goes, originally it was titled just Family Property, and, of course, worldwide threw the semicolon with Backwoods Killing Spree on there. Thank God they did, because now I get to do Family Property 2, and I throw in a semicolon with More Blood. But the cool thing is that movie, that was a learning curve for me because I was helping one of my friends, and he kept saying, let's do this, let's do a movie. And after scripting and casting and getting locations for all of them, he always kind of canceled the shoot just because whether it was going to rain or he didn't feel like, we'd be able to pull it off right. And finally, I was like, dude, I'm not telling these people, to myself, I was like, I'm not going to tell these people we cancel again. I tell you, I talked to myself, and I was like, hey, look, let's just write a script, shoot a movie, show him that I can half-ass do one, and maybe then he'll believe together we can pull off a good movie. Of course, he took it the wrong way, thought I was trying to screw him over, and hasn't talked to me since. But that was the whole, gist behind it, was I just wanted to show him, if I could pull off something like this, think what we could actually do together as a team, And,
I feel you, man.
But,
out of all the stuff that they sent me, they did not send me any of those films. I will have to
why,
speak
right?
to my rep. Huh?
You know why, right?
No.
They're making people pay for that shit, man.
I don't mind paying for a copy. I'm just surprised because usually they send me everything.
Yeah, no, I'm just joking, but literally they have not sent those films to any reviewers.
Huh.
The reviewers that have gotten it have bought it.
I guess I will have to buy one.
Which is hilarious. But
Family
Property 2. Family Property 2. Here's the cool thing, man. In the first one, of course, I wanted to make something that could be a starter for kids that really don't need to see too much. They don't really need to see the nudity, hear the language, or see too much gore when they're real young.
Right.
So I wanted to make a starter to introduce them into the horror world, especially horror comedy, because, there's all kinds of horror, but show them that scary can be funny at the same time, And
right.
It's worked great because over half of my fan base started watching the movie when they were 6 and loved it, So now, I'm getting requests now from people that I gave copies to back then that had real young kids, and they're like, hey, look, we watch this once a week religiously, and now it doesn't work anymore. Can we get a new copy? How can we get one? So it's awesome, but, so I left everything minimal. There's no nudity, there's very little blood, there's no gore, and, I think there's maybe 8 or 9 cuss words in the whole film, all right? Well, Family Property 2, whoa, what a difference. what a difference. There's nudity, there's gore, there's blood. Matter of fact, the reason why it's called More Blood is because of the effects guy. Every time I would holler for him, the thing that he would say, "What you need?" And I'll say, "More blood." Every time I'd say, "I need more blood. Come on, make me some more blood, more blood." So he started yelling that out and saying that's the tagline of the movie now. So whenever he showed up on set, he'd get out of the car. First thing he'd say to everybody, "More blood." All right. Because we haven't filmed all the death scenes yet, I've already used 10 gallons of blood.
My kind of movie.
And yeah, I'll go ahead and give some. I mean, we have one guy getting his head cut off with a push mower. Which, by the way, I did that scene unlike anybody else would ever do it.
Okay.
And it's going to flip people out because as close as the blade of the mower gets to that frigging camera, they're going to know exactly how close my fucking face was to it. Because I had the person playing the killer actually lean the mower back with the blade in it running, pushing it towards the camera, and I did not yell cut until I could see the grass moving underneath my chin.
Oh, man.
I mean, it was literally 8 inches. It was literally 8 inches from my face. So, yeah, that blade gets bigger than life on the fucking camera.
So just out of curiosity, since you decided to go kind of saucy on this one, who's your effects artist?
Philip Hurt. The guy that's going to be down here at the Martinsville Winter Horror Fest. Once I saw his work, I was like, dude, this guy is a rising star. He made shit happen with, literally like twine and duct tape. It made it look really shit. I mean, it was great. We actually have a scene in the movie. I'm going to go ahead, this one girl, it's an awesome fucking scene. You remember the old bores that you used to bore holes with that look like corkscrews?
Sure.
Yeah, well, this girl gets one of those in the eyeball. And what's awesome is the fake head that we used. My buddy Dwayne King made that up for me from Clucking Films. I appreciate him for that because we've used that head in 3 kills now. But that going in, the latex that he put on this we used a styrofoam head for this, okay? But the styrofoam, as it turned, you could hear it crunching.
Nice.
And as you looked at it, not only did you see the blood coming up out of the eye socket, but you can actually see the latex tear as if it's actual skin that's grabbing onto and pulling.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that.
Dude that's playing the brother that's chained in the barn that ends up breaking loose near the end of it. He is 6'8", 270 pounds. And just hearing the sounds of the styrofoam, right? I asked him if he wanted to see the footage. He said, "No, man, my stomach started curdling when I heard the I was like, yes. I'm going to have a scene people vomit at. Exactly.
Yes. That's what you dream for.
Yeah, so, we've got some great shit, man. I mean, so far there's already 10 dead bodies. And by the time it's done, we're going to have about 15 or 16 on the body count, which is pretty sweet. Nowhere near psychotic state, but still pretty sweet, And still, the gore in this is 10 times more than in psychotic state, even with the higher body count. So this is going to be pretty sweet.
That's just cool. Now, let me ask you about another project. And, of course, we all know how IMDb is, but and that's Plan 9. You play Zombie in Plan 9. It says it's in post-production. Have you actually done your filming for that yet? What can you tell us about Plan 9?
Actually, the thing's already had a few screenings.
Okay. Like I said,
Plan
IMDb.
9, yeah, well, it's had a few screenings. It hasn't been released. It's had a few screenings, but has not been released. Spotlight Pictures actually took on and picked it up to shop it around for distribution. So, Johnny Johnson signed everything for them getting the distribution for it. And it looks like there's I actually believe from reading some of the posts that it's possibly going to come out next year, full force. I can tell you now, the only thing I can tell you about it is John Johnson. Oh my God, what an amazing filmmaker, dude. That movie was so fucking awesome. So awesome. Had a sold-out room, 250 people watching the film. Every dead body at the end of it jumped to their feet, screaming, cheering, and applauding.
Nice.
It is fucking stellar, dude. He mixes every style of filmmaking from the 50s to today. And he brings back the characters of Plan 9 from outer space and pays tribute to them. And in the movie, of course, the last living member of Plan 9 from outer space, Conrad Brooks, is in it. He's got the Scream Queen, Monique Dupree. He has dude from Charmed in it. He has one of the walkers from The Walking Dead actually playing a role in it, Addie Miller. He just has a stellar cast. He has Matthew Ewald, which is an amazing actor. And, the fact that I was a zombie in it for even the moment of time that I was, it's just, I'm honored to be a part of that project because it's just fucking phenomenal. I mean, literally, I went into it as a Plan 9 from outer space fan. I didn't give a shit that I was a zombie in it. I didn't give a shit that I was friends with the guy that made it. The only thing I went in there with was, I'm a fan of Plan 9, and this movie better fucking pay it justice.
Huh.
And the minute I saw it,
I'm excited to see it.
Ecstatic.
Now you have two more. You have two more films on your resume for this year. Give us the scoop on Deadlines and Rednecks.
All right. Well, Deadlines is a film by Tracy Statton, which the director of photography was John Johnson. He did Plan 9. It's a great kind of paranormal horror story. Camille Keaton's in it, by the way, she does a phenomenal job in it. And I know they're working on finishing the editing right now. And it's kind of hard to explain it. You have to watch the trailer in order to get it. But there's this guy that comes in. He's an out-of-towner, an outcast, and most people really don't realize the fact that he's somewhat a demon. And it is literally just a bunch of great stuff. Royce Hobson plays the lead guy in it. And I actually reprised my role for Vampires in Zanzibar as Marcus, and my buddy John Birmingham, he reprised his role as Rakid, and we came in as if we were moving into town from Zanzibar. And then Rednecks was actually made by John Birmingham, and it is a redneck musical comedy from hell. It is literally.
Is it on par with Cannibal the Musical?
Dude, this is a movie of insanity. There's this group of rednecks, which you get to see them living their redneck lives, and then they sell their soul to the devil so that they can become rich and famous. And it's kind of a good versus evil battle thing because they realize they miss the way they used to live and want to go back to it. So, and there's a lot of great cool stuff with that, music-wise and everything else, so it's just insane. But it's one of those things that, I mean, for me, I like it, but it's one of those movies that if you're fucked up and you watch it, you enjoy it better.
I dig it. I understand what you're saying. It's like that with Forever Dead. I mean, it was great what Christine Parker did with the film, but there are times when I watch it and I cringe just because of stuff I know how to do now, and I'm like, man, we could have done that so much better.
Yeah.
But I get it, yeah.
Well, there's one project I do want to touch base on that's out now, and it's not a film project. But, I want to make sure before we got to go that this gets mentioned, because I sent you a copy of it, right? Because I worked with the author of the Camp Crystal Lake novels, William Patterson, a.k.a. Eric Morris, to novelize Psychotic State, the movie.
And I was going to bring that up, and I haven't had a chance to finish reading it yet, but so far I like what I've read, and what I wanted to ask you is how did you get involved with William, and how did you guys collaborate on bringing the book forward?
That's the funny thing. I ended up going to Horrifying in 2011, and I ended up meeting Wayne Counts Extreme Golden, who, if you've ever seen Little Jason at a convention, that's Little Jason's daddy. And I met him at Horrifying, and I gave him a copy of Family Property because that was my first convention that I went to, and I went there as a fan and just went around handing out copies of the movie, asking people to give it a chance, And they, Wayne actually brought me on, and him and Eric and Christopher Hyland interviewed me on their show Horror Chat. And it was kind of over with from there. Eric has been a part of Midnight Matinee Psycho and Psychotic State, and I went to him and talked to him about it and said, hey, man, look, if I had to choose anybody to novelize this movie, it would be you, being as I could work with you and, I would know how the outcome was going to be, and, we could have everything together. So, plus I was a fan of the Camp Crystal Lake novel, so being able to work with him was going to be fucking phenomenal for me, being my first venture out into the author world, right? So I took and sent him the script for the, I thought, he had the script where he did a small part of the movie, and so he took the script and he went over it, read it several times, and then he sat down and started writing. And he kept a lot of the script the way that I had it written in the book, and then he kind of grew it and put it into its own world. And as he was writing, he would send me every chapter so that I could read it over. And if I had any ideas on something that I thought would be better, I gave them to him, and he would add it in. Or he would change things the way that I thought the book needed to go after I would read things. But for the majority of it, he had stuff so spot on that, I kind of, a lot of the stuff I left alone. But different little details about the area and things like that I had to give him so that he would know, one, how we are here in Virginia, and two, how the area looks that the book's supposed to be taking place in. And then he kind of expanded the area itself a little bit. So, it cool. Was, so then when we got done with it, I hit up, we had already had a publication deal set up, but the company the guy that owned it ended up getting ill, and with his health problems, he shut down his publication house. So we turned around, and I found this new publication house, Linkfield Press, and thank God for Amanda Marie. She's awesome as hell. Her editors are amazing. And so now the book is out there, and you can get it on Amazon. You can get it on BarnesandNoble.com. It is in Nook and e-readers. You can get it with those, so you don't have to just buy the print version.
I prefer print versions myself. I mean, I'm a collector, so you know how it is.
Oh yeah, well, But the cool thing is, thanks to that, I was able to set up a Barnes & Noble book signing at my local Barnes & Noble. So I've got to join the ranks of amazing people that have sat in a Barnes & Noble and signed the books.
That's sweet.
So, yeah, so, it's pretty fucking awesome, dude. I mean, you have, the coolest thing about this is everything I have ever set out to do, I have accomplished, and I'm 30 years old. The only two things that I have yet to set out to do that's on my bucket list is A, put on my own show, which I am going to be doing come December, so then I can check that off, right? And
your own
B,
shows and your own podcast?
No, being the festival. That was one of the things I added to my bucket list when I started doing shows, is that I really wanted to put on one. So I added to my bucket list of things to do before I die. And thankfully, I'm going to finish it before I turn 31, so I'll check that one off. The other thing left would be to check off being a part of a professional wrestling event.
There you go.
That's my last thing on my bucket list, is to be able to do that. And I know one day I will, but as right now, I may be a manager one day, but right now that'll probably be when the kids are grown and out and don't have to worry about making sure they eat. You know what I mean?
Since we're at this point in the interview, I wanted to ask you real quick, and we're going to come back to Psychotic State here in a second, but most people that listen to the show know that I'm a wrestling fan. Obviously, you're a pro wrestling fan. And I normally don't break out from my horror talk, but I have to ask you, knowing that you're such a wrestling fan, two things. What were your thoughts on Sting's return, and what do you think of the whole podcast controversy stuff with CM Punk here?
Okay, well, as far as Sting is concerned, number one, the very first thing that went through my mind when I heard Sting was finally going to do it was, oh my God, he finally sold out to Vince McMahon.
Right.
Which really sucked being a Sting fan. That was one reason I was a huge fan of his. But when I saw him come out and deliver the Scorpion Death Drop to Triple H to take them out of power, that was one of those moments in time that will never and has never, ever happened before and will never happen again. You will never have somebody that was so predominant in the wrestling world that had never stepped foot in the biggest commodity of wrestling and then turn around and do it. And when he stepped out, before you ever saw the fans cheer, everybody stopped in silence, in awe of the fact that they were there for that moment in time. And then they cheered like crazy.
Oh, yeah. I can take that.
For me being a Sting fan, seeing the reaction, I fucking loved it, because that basically tells everybody that, number one, you do not have to sell yourself short. Everybody would say, being a part of this company right here, I can't be at the top of the rung. I got to be a part of the WWE. But Sting has proven now that he didn't have to be a part of that damn company in order to be famous and stay remembered for the rest of his life. So for me, that was awesome to see. And then as far as CM Punk goes, I knew something was up with Punk because he was at the top of the ladder. I mean, he was at the top of the fucking ladder, dude. Everybody fucking Punk this, Punk that, Punk this, Punk that. And then all of a sudden, no Punk. And, I believe every fucking thing he said about how they do things at the WWE. because that's the reason why Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy left. Jeff Hardy flat out tells people, I will never step foot in a WWE ring again. He had a broken fucking rib, and they tried to say he was cleared to wrestle and tried to send him out, even though he was hurt that bad. So, I mean, I believed what the fuck, Punk said, and I honestly am thankful that he came out and did what he did. I mean, did you see the fact that Vince McMahon apologized to him?
Yeah, that was a little surprising to me.
He had to. AJ Lee is his biggest female wrestler right now.
Who lost the belt on a fluky kiss, but I just wanted to get that on you. And the last wrestling thing I'll ask you then is, all right, Sting is there. We know obviously there's going to be something with Triple H, but even though the streak ended at WrestleMania, is this the setup for Sting Taker at this WrestleMania?
No, it's the setup for Sting Lesnar at the WrestleMania.
Sting Lesnar, okay.
Yeah, Sting. Let me tell you something, man. You want to know the reason why it took even longer for Sting to come out after they announced the game and everything else?
What was it?
Vince McMahon screwed over Sting after signing the contract with him in the first place. Brock Lesnar was supposed to lose to The Undertaker. And Sting's first match in the WWE ring was supposed to be him taking out the streak. Wow,
that would make Sting one of the most hated men in the WWE, though.
But that was the whole agreement. Well, see, the way that Sting figured it is he's never been in a WWE ring. So wouldn't it make sense for the most iconic wrestler that has never stepped foot in the WWE to finally step foot in the WWE and beat the Taker? I mean, it's ridiculous
in other
for
words,
Lesnar to beat.
Right.
It was ridiculous for Lesnar beating him at WrestleMania because the Taker's already beat Lesnar before when he was still wrestling hard, when Lesnar first came out, So for him to be the one to end the streak and not CM Punk was ridiculous. But the thing is, what most people didn't realize is Vince McMahon promised Sting that he would be the one to take down the streak, which would make him the most iconic person, period. Because not only would that be his first match, but it would be the first one the Taker ever lost at WrestleMania, which is huge, right?
Right.
But now here's the thing. The night of the Lesnar-Taker match, right before Taker went out, Vince walked up to Taker and said, so what do you think about going ahead and ending the streak tonight? Taker said, well, it's fine by me. He didn't know about the agreement between Vince and Sting, right? So he went out and lost the match, when originally he was supposed to win it.
Wow. We'll definitely talk wrestling another time. We've got about 8 minutes left, but I want to take it back to Psychotic State. On my Facebook feed, of course, I get tons of stuff that comes across, and your picture comes up a lot, and it's not always posted by you. Other people are talking about your work. A lot of other people are talking about Psychotic State. Kind of talk about what Psychotic State has done for your career and talk about the success that it's been having.
Well, that's the funny thing, man. Psychotic State has yet to come out. I've actually decided to wait on releasing the movie for after the novel's been out for a little while and got some fans and some sales. Because I wanted to have a built-in fan base for the movie to begin with. Because everybody, they realize that the book is a novelization of the movie. So, in other words, they're going to know going into the movie that the book is what we would have wanted for the movie if we had the funds to do it that way. All right? So they're not going to be as critical of the movie when they see it either, because they realize that the movie came first, not second.
Definitely.
So they're going to go in with open eyes, but they're going to be fans of what it's doing already. And, I mean, literally, dude, the biggest thing that I've noticed with it is people that are against bullying, regardless of the stuff that takes place in the center of it, that's the main thing they're focused on, is the fact that it has that message. And they have pushed that to no end. And I think everybody has done it because, frankly, you know, I'm starting to pick up more and more interviews. I'm starting to get more and more friend requests and likes from people all over the globe. And the majority of them are wanting to see Psychotic State because they know from hearing what they've heard that I have such a high body count. They know what the message is in it, and they want to see actually made the movie tie that message together, being a slasher flick. So, you know, it's a lot of fun, and I'm actually very happy with where it's going, and can't wait for when I finally get to tell everybody it's released.
Well, that's great, man, because, you know, like I said, I know the time and the effort that you put into it, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it as soon as I can. And, you know, it's great to hear, you know, what you're going to be doing with the film festival, the book.
Well,
you know,
I got something great for you then, man. Since they did Worldwide didn't see you the first two films, I got something great for you.
Okay.
I have a private setup for people to watch the movie.
All right.
And make sure you Facebook me your email address when this is over with, and I will add you to that so that you can see the final cut of the movie.
Cool. Yeah, I definitely want to do that. You know, if you want, I can wait on giving a review on it, or I can go ahead and just do the review. But yeah, I would definitely at least like to see it.
Yeah, you know, I'll make sure you get it, and then you can do a review of the book versus the movie.
I'd be more than happy to do that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man, there's a lot going on. Hell, I've already started filming Family Property 3.
You got to get a jump on stuff, man. I understand how that goes.
Well, the ending of the movie leaves things to where I start the third one off with the ending of it and showing what happened at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And the third one's going to be fucking crazy, dude. I'll go ahead and put it out there for everybody because you know what I'm doing? I'm going for the world record.
World record of what?
Highest body count in a slasher film.
What's the current record?
155 deaths is the current record.
155?
Yep. Would you like to know how many I'm going for?
Why not?
I'm going for 200 in 2 hours. That's 100 kills an hour. 100 kills an hour. Yeah.
No, it's going to be multiple. There's going to be multiple murders.
That's a death and a. Yeah, well, that's a death and a half a minute.
That is absolutely nuts, man.
Yeah, when you figure it up, it's a death and a half a minute. Doesn't mean it's actually going to be set up that way, but when you figure up the numbers, it would equal up to a death and a half a minute. But I've come up with a real unique way to do it and still be able to keep storyline for a movie and not just have some friggin' movie where people just keep getting killed, you know? So the fact that I was able to variety. Yeah, so the fact that I was able to come up with a unique way to do it and pull it off and still have story, I was like, yep, I got to do it. So, you know, I've already shot stuff for it, and the distribution company for Family Property, they gave me the go-ahead to do part 2, and, you know, I had distribution before I ever even started penning the script. So now I told them, I said, I got a feeling there's going to be a third one. And they said, well, you have permission to make as many of those as you want to. It's just if we have the rights, so we have to distribute it. And I'm like, all right, well, there's only going to be 3 of them. But the cool thing is, the way that I'm making all 3 of them, when I get done, I'm actually going to be able to clip pieces out of it and clip all 3 movies together and make one massive film that actually ties together from beginning to end.
Nice.
And has a full-blown, massive story. So the way that I'm going to do that is just going to be crazy. But I'm going to have, I'm going to have all 3 films, and then I'm going to take the director's cut is going to be all 3 films in one. And the director's cut is actually going to just be Family Property, the title I originally wanted it to be. And when I mesh all 3 together, it's going to have a massive runtime. But I'm also going to have in those 3 movies, if I hit the 200 kills, when you add in the kills from the first film and the second film, I will have as many kills in that one grouped movie that it's going to be unreal. But when you look at all 3 separately, once I finish the third one, I will have as high a body count as all of the Friday the 13th franchises combined.
That's nuts, man.
So, yeah, because the highest body count for Friday the 13th was Jason X with 27. And I went through and I counted the body count for each one of them, and I will have beaten the body count for all Friday the 13th combined by 3 kills in 3 movies. So
that's
I'm killing a lot of people.
Well, you got to keep it going. Well, Derek, it's been great having you on, man. I'm glad we get to let everyone know what's going on with you and what you're keeping up with. You always know if you got stuff and you need to talk about it, just drop me a line. Come on, and I'll get you on the show, man.
Oh, yeah, man. Well, I appreciate it a lot, and, it's a blast as always, and to all of the listeners, you guys kick ass. And, thank you for listening to this. Dude, I can't wait. Hopefully you can talk some people into splitting up with you and you can come up.
All right, man. I will do what I can.
If you make it up, I'll have a copy of the novel set aside so that you can have a print version. So
that's cool, man. I appreciate it.
Keep me in the loop.
I will, man.
If you're able to or not. All right, bro. You have a good one.
You too, man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.
And once again, everyone, that was director Derek Young. This guy's just got so much going on, and he really is such a good dude. Make sure to head on out to the Martinsville Winter Horror Fest and check out his films when you get a chance. This guy's got talent. He's someone we need to keep an eye on. Coming up in a few moments, we're going to be doing our second digital dismemberment Blu-ray spotlight review of the evening. This one will be Scream Factory's Leviathan. But before we get to that, it's time to get in some more World Podcast exclusive music from Metal Blade. We're going to open this up with some more brand new King Diamond. The name of the CD is Dreams of Horror. The song is Voodoo.
From the very Bible warning.
exclusive music from Metal Blade. You just heard Powerwolf from the new CD, The History of Heresy 2, 2009-2012, Panic in the Pentagram. Before that, off of the Split album by Ram and Portrait, we had Ram. The name of the CD is Under Command. The song is Welcome to My Funeral. And we opened that up, of course, with King Diamond from the CD Dreams of Horror. The song was Voodoo. Well, I think it's time, once again, for some digital dismemberment.
Digital dismemberment.
And in this digital dismemberment, we are going to be covering Scream Factory's release of Leviathan, starring Peter Weller, Richard Crenna, Amanda Pays, Daniel Stern, Ernie Hudson, Michael Carmine, Lisa Albacher, and Hector Elizondo. 5 miles beneath the ocean surface, a crew of underwater miners stumbled upon a haunting secret. What they discovered will strike terror into our hearts. On August 19th, the long-awaited deep-sea sci-fi creature thriller Leviathan, a film by George P. Cosmatos, who also did Rambo, First Blood, and Cobra, finally unleashes on Blu-ray for the first time from Scream Factory. A little bit more info on the film. On the dark and forbidding ocean floor, the crew of a deep-sea mission rig discovers a sunken freighter that harbors a deadly secret, a genetic experiment gone horribly wrong. With a storm raging on the surface and no hope of rescue, the captain and his team are propelled into a spine-tingling battle for survival against the ultimate foe, a hideous monster that cannot die and lives to kill. I really, really enjoyed this film. It has been a long time since I had seen it, and I don't want to say forgot about it, but it's not a film that immediately would have jumped into my mind. But now that I've watched it again, I thought it was a fantastically made film. It has a lot of great actors in it. I mean, I'm a big fan of Peter Weller, who was in RoboCop, of course. Daniel Stern, of course, most people know from Home Alone, but I mean Chud, Ernie Hudson, Ghostbusters. I mean, it's got a good cast, and one of the unfair comparisons, and it's even talked about in the behind-the-scenes and special features. A lot of people would compare it to Alien in terms of it's just underwater instead of in space. Plausible argument maybe to a degree, but I still feel like Leviathan stands on its own as far as its merits. I really enjoyed the cast and crew. One of the things that I really liked, of course, was the creature and the creature effects. And one of the features on the behind-the-scenes creature effects artist Alec Gillis and Tom Woodruff Jr. talk about creating the monster and everything that went into it, and Stan, and just general things about the film. And it's a really good watch to give you an idea of what's going on there behind the scenes with all of that. There were also interviews with actor Hector Elizondo and Ernie Hudson as well. And most, bits and pieces of the cast and crew are talked to during the interviews, and overall it seemed to be a very positive experience. It was interesting to hear about how they came up with the creature and the design, and Ernie Hudson's description of calling it a chicken was very funny, and talks about the reaction of what happened to his character in the film. I don't want to give too much away for those that haven't seen him. But I thought the set locations were really, really cool. I thought the concept of how the creature comes to be and how it's passed along to the crew was kind of a unique and a cool concept. It was different. I didn't see that twist coming, and I didn't remember it from the first time. I think the film looks absolutely amazing. They talk about the elements where, not all of it was shot underwater. So I found that to be an interesting element and how much the film looked like it was. Very impressive visual effects for its time. The film certainly has its chunks of blood and gore. I mean, there's definitely some nastiness that goes on in this film. Bodies being ripped open and transmutations and things like that. So it's pretty gruesome as far as all that. it's it's got the feel good ending at the end. Peter Weller displaying his badass technique, which is always fun to watch on camera. Scream Factory also included a theatrical trailer, for the film. And, I think it really looks great, even moved up, converted to digital, 1080 HD master audio stereo and 1080p high definition widescreen, 2.351. This film still looks amazingly stunning, even for today. And again, the sound was quite very well done as well. This is the original poster art. It would have been nice to see, but I know sometimes the companies are pretty demanding on what they want as the poster cover. This drawing, actually, I don't know. Well, no. I mean, this is one of the alternate poster arts, so yeah, I'm just double checking my notes on that. Yeah. So I mean, it's well worth getting. It's a fun film to have from that timepiece, especially if you like creature feature films. The creature is quite unique, and you get to see something that you haven't really seen before. I would give the movie a 7.5 out of 10. I enjoyed this creature feature. It's usually not my typical cup of tea when it comes to watching a film, but I thought it was well done, and I really enjoyed the cast and the crew. And the movie belts along at a nice pace so that you can really enjoy what it is that you're seeing. I really liked the behind-the-scenes interviews, and in particular the Ernie Hudson one. I really enjoyed, because you don't get to see Ernie on a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. At least I haven't. So it was really nice to see him. I thought that the interview with Hector Elizondo was really nice as well. And of course, as an effects artist, hearing the perspective of the makeup guys is always a plus. So special features on this one, I would give it a 7 out of 10. It's a shame that some of the cast and crew had passed on. It would have been nice to have gotten some commentary from them. But definitely head on over to shoutfactory.com and pick up your copy of Leviathan. You should be able to pick it up at your local big box retailer and or Amazon. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been another fantastic evening. I want to say thank you to my featured guest, Director Derek Young, for coming on and talking about all of the projects and the Martinsville Winter Horror Fest. I want to say thank you to Tom Chen and my friends at Scream Factory for sending out Leviathan for review. And thank you to our friends at Lionsgate for releasing Zombies of Mass Destruction. And of course, all of it would not be possible without saying thank you to our friends at Metal Blade for all of the fantastic metal that they have sent for us this evening. And make sure to head on over to LivingDeadMagazine.com to pick up the most recent issue of Living Dead Magazine, focusing on Welcome to the Freak Show. And the new issue coming up will be a spotlight on Rob Zombie. So make sure to head over and pre-order your copy of Living Dead Magazine. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been fun. The Dead Man will see you next Tuesday. And until then, rest in peace.